Yes, the Lakers won, and yes, LeBron won Finals MVP. But I'm not going to forget the man on the other side of the court, Jimmy Butler, who had a historic NBA Finals, and at times matched LeBron blow for blow. This was LeBron's 10th Finals. He was already a 3-time NBA champion. For Jimmy, it was his first Finals ever. It was his first time he made the conference finals. What I don't get is why we aren't talking more about what Jimmy just did. He averaged 26.2 points, 9.8 assists, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.2 steals on 55% from the field. He led his team in every category: points, assists, rebounds, steals, and even blocks. He pulled a LeBron. In fact, he legit did what LeBron did. He was the third player in NBA history to have a 40-point triple-double in the finals. The only two other players were LeBron in 2015 and Jerry West in 1969. But it wasn't just even the stat filling. Butler led his team to wins. He took over in the fourth quarter in the clutch moments, and he's back in the gym already? This is all amazing, right? But there's something obvious that we're missing. Heading into the playoffs, most people weren't expecting Jimmy Butler to have the playoffs he did, and it made sense. Of course, we thought his level would rise, but from what he had shown us in the regular season, how much could he really raise his level? Butler wasn't on the level of superstars, he wasn't even on the level of stars. He was just a really good player that put in a lot of effort. An all-star. In the regular season, Butler averaged 19.9 points, 6 assists, and 6.7 rebounds on 45% from the field and 24.5% from 3. Yes, it's true that Butler played way more minutes in the finals, but he was more efficient and had a higher PER. And it's not like he barely played minutes in the regular season. He averaged 33.8 minutes per game, but he didn't stand out. The story for the Heat was Bam Adebayo, who had significant improvement, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, their rookies. This is showing a trend that has become even more apparent in the past few years: the difference between the regular season and the playoffs. What is up, dudes? That's Ballers Players. It's your boy MJ. Jimmy deserves more attention, and I'm all for it. And this championship, this whole bubble, isn't an asterisk. Was there no home court advantage? Yeah, but to say that the whole season is thrown away would mean that we diminish what Damian Lillard did and what Jimmy Butler did along with the Lakers. And that ain't it, cause no players got COVID. Off season here meaning more breakdown stories, so sub up, hit noties. Also, I got this school project for a website. I made an NBA site, so help me out. I just need clicks, so link in the comments. Twitch stream 2 tonight, so come through. Alright, remember there was a time where the regular season was just a formality when the whole world pretty much knew that it was going to be the Warriors and Cavs in the finals. The regular season began to lose meaning. There was also this whole load management wave going on, which meant stars were already giving less importance to the regular season. We even started to coin names for players who performed specifically in the playoffs, like Playoff Rondo, which, if you look at the stats, is a real thing. Playoff Rondo! We had Playoff Kawhi, who would turn into possibly the best player in the world in the playoffs after being a star in the regular season. Heck, we even had Playoff LeBron, the whole idea of him coasting in the regular season, saving himself for the playoffs. I think it makes sense. Players should elevate themselves in the toughest of moments, or at least keep up similar production, since playoff defense means more and is way more intense. Jamal Murray went to another level these playoffs, and I would hope players do that. But his performances seem more like really good shooting days, and he'll have to prove it again. And now, we have Jimmy Butler. Here's a guy who legit didn't average 20 points a game this season or last season. A guy that was written off as a locker room problem despite helping every single franchise he was part of. We saw it last year with the Sixers and the playoffs. The thing with Butler is that he could really perform like that in the regular season, since his game really wasn't about knockdown shooting, with no one really to stop him, but he doesn't. So how do we assess Jimmy Butler? By his regular season, in which he chooses not to show his full capabilities, the playoffs in which he performs spectacularly but only for a short period of time, and if he isn't showing his full abilities in the regular season, what does that say about the NBA season? Because if Jimmy played like he did in the playoffs, he would be considered a superstar. We did see Jimmy Butler also lose his legs by the end of the series, so maybe it's not sustainable, but that wouldn't explain players like Rondo, who is not necessarily carrying a team, nor seems like he's tired by what he does in the playoffs. But there's a clear difference between regular season Rondo and playoff Rondo. And then we have the other side of the spectrum, the players that do well in the regular season but fall short in the playoffs. This makes more sense because defense ties up in the playoffs and the main go-tos get taken away. We have players like Giannis who dominate in the regular season but fail to replicate in the playoffs, specifically because of the playstyle. Paul George was third in MVP voting in 2019 and has had horrible games. This year, he looked like Pandemic P. The Lakers won the Clippers, and then this happened. We're just roll the clip.
It's a bad shot.
Just look at the stats comparison. Russell Westbrook has put up some tremendous historical stats in the regular season, but fails to do the same in the playoffs. At times, he can shoot his team out of the game. So what does this all mean? We already know that playoff basketball is different, but does the regular season not mean as much to the players? We award accolades based on the regular season, first team all NBA, first team all defense, MVP. These are what we measure players' legacies by, along with championships, but it seems to lack context. As a basketball fan, I wouldn't want the regular season to feel like a long prelude to the playoffs, but that's what players like Jimmy Butler are making it seem. So what's the solution? It's not as if you can find players for not playing their best like we did with load management, which is why I'm saying Jimmy Butler proved the entire NBA wrong. He was the last straw of sorts. If we have players who are capable of performing right now, who are in their prime right now but choose to wait out for the playoffs, then aren't we losing out right now? There's a difference between coasting since you're winning and literally just choosing not to play, which could lead to some more losses. The Warriors with KD would coast. They were just way too dominant and OP. They got in the right form at the right time, but even their stars weren't like, let me just not be a superstar, because Curry and KD were superstars in every right. There's a difference between resting because you're an older player or resting when you're in your prime and healthy. There's also the flip side, where players take it too easy in the regular season and never find the playoffs like the Clippers this year. That way, we're cheated out of what a team could be because they just did not take their regular season too seriously. I honestly think we should have awards for the playoffs besides Finals MVP because playoff basketball is a whole different sport. Players like Jimmy Butler make us reevaluate the value of players that we have and the value of the regular season, which is why I think that Jimmy Butler is literally disrupting the entire NBA and the concept of the regular season. Now, I seriously do think that players should raise their levels and we should see higher level of basketball in the playoffs. It's the most crucial time of the year, but the regular season should not suffer as a result. In fact, the regular season should be at a very high level, and then playoff basketball takes that to a whole nother stratosphere. And I feel like we did have that to a certain extent in 2008, 9, 10, 11, before the whole load management wave. This also points to a bigger picture of players not caring too much about these awards in the regular season. There are some players that care tremendously about these awards, but not players like Jimmy Butler. And so if the incentives for playing well in the regular season are failing, what do we do? That's what I'm gonna ask you, because what do we do? Shout out to the NBA Storyteller for being first, appreciate it. Streaming tonight, so go to Twitch. If you liked the vid, hit the like button, it really helps out. Subscribe if you're new or you've been watching for a minute. We're going to be dropping a lot of content, especially with off-season and potential trades and all that, so come through. It's your boy MJ, we out, and we vibing.
For you, I got all the patience, so let's get high, let's get wasted. Okay, just hop in my spaceship, no.